The most embarrassing play of the season just happened. Phoenix winning by 9 points without CP3 and Cam Johnson. Damian Lee misses a tray. Torrey Craig gets the board. Gets the ball back for an open three, but hold it. Did you see that? Rewind it. The Timberwolves have 4 players on the court. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look, the Wolves are bad enough. They don't need to play 5-on-4. Look, I'm not a coach, but that seems kind of dumb. Right when Craig shoots, oh, look who it is! D'Angelo Russell, just in time for the splash. It turns out D'Lo didn't even know he was supposed to be in the game. How does that happen? It reminds me of when Michael Beasley tried to check in with the wrong shorts. D'Lo has checked out mentally and on defense. When he plays without Rudy Gobert, the Wolves have the worst D in the league. And the worst part, it's make or break for D'Lo's career. He's on the final year of his max contract. So far, the Wolves refuse to extend him. Last year, he played well, but tanked in the playoffs. He went from 18 points a game, shooting 41%, to 12 a game, 33%. So bad in the final game, they benched him.
With how the final game went, were you okay kind of watching from the bench at the end of there, or just did you want to be in there?
No.
So you wanted to be on the floor there?
You want to do your job right now?
Obviously, things are icy, but D'Lo has no options. He was an all-star in 2019 with the Nets, but a horrible fit in Golden State. Now, his play has gotten so average, he'll be lucky to get paid like Reggie Jackson. But how did things get this bad? Is there a way that D'Lo leaves this team and revives his career like Andrew Wiggins? If that happens, it'll be more proof this is the worst team in the NBA. But first, today's video is sponsored by our friends at SeatGeek. We all love SeatGeek because it's a ticketing app that makes buying tickets to live events super simple. And I've got the app on my phone, by far and away the best way to buy tickets. Basketball, football, baseball, concerts, whatever. SeatGeek puts tickets from all over the web in one place to make buying simple. Obviously, the NFL season has been going. The NBA season is actually a little over 10% complete. So let's not miss out, people. And I talked about the app being on my phone. I am not going to miss out. Let me open it up here and show you what I am looking at. Now, I live in Houston. I really want to see the Cavaliers at the Rockets. I want to see Evan Mobley in person. I've heard rumors that he's like the young Kevin Garnett. So it looks like I can get into the door for about 25 bucks. If I want to sit a little bit closer, 159 bucks, and that's behind the bench. You can see these dots. Green means you're getting a good deal. Red means you're getting a bad deal. But on all of the tickets, we have the hookup. Use code AMHOOPS for $20 off tickets at SeatGeek. 20 bucks off your first purchase with promo code AMHOOPS. And make sure you click the link in the description and download the NBA. A lot of people poke fun at the Kings for not making the playoffs in forever. The Wolves had the same record. They've made it twice in 18 years, just like the Kings. But Minnesota's dysfunction is on another level. In 2009, they hired David Kahn to run the front office with picks 5 and 6 in the 09 draft, so he passed on Steph Curry twice. And he took 2 point guards. It's not like they needed a big man, so okay, I can understand it. 2 point guards? And the reason? Steph just loved to play golf too much.
I think the word on the street was that he didn't draft me because in Minnesota it's cold and I wouldn't be able to play as much golf, so I would have been miserable.
Is that true?
I hope it's true because that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
It was idiotic in the moment. I did a draft diary. I was going nuts. Because if you're going to take 2 point guards, how are you not one of the two?
I don't know.
So they took Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn, who only played in the NBA for 2 years. But they hired a guy named Gerson Rosas to turn things around. Now, later he was fired for an Ime Udoka type scandal. But his first big move? Trading for D'Angelo Russell. They were so desperate for a quick fix, they dealt Andrew Wiggins and the number 7 pick. That failed so miserably. They won 19 games in 2020, 23 games in 2021. People are gonna blame injuries, but there is a much bigger problem that still exists today. That issue is what Jimmy Butler warned us about in 2018. Jimmy led them to the playoffs for the first time since 2004. But what what happened scared him. Jimmy decided his teammates had zero heart and a loser's mentality, so he demanded a trade after the season. No deal was on the table. He walked into practice and told everybody he would be a problem. Butler proceeded to prove a point. He grabbed all the scrubs on the team, Luol Deng, James Nunnally, Jared Terrell, and scrimmage against the stars, Cat, Wiggins, everyone else. The scrub squad won every game, and as he walked out, Butler talked trash to his teammates, saying they don't have what it takes. He yelled at the coach and the GM, saying, "You need me." Then he went on ESPN and said this: "I'm not the most talented player on this team." Who's the most talented player? Cat. Who's the most God-gifted player on our team? Wiggs. But who plays the hardest? Me. Even with the most blue-collar player and coach Tom Thibodeau, the Wolves are a bunch of heartless players. But then, everyone thought it would change when they got Anthony Edwards. No one's got more swag than him, shows flashes of a superstar, and things did change. But that little bit of success was the worst thing that could happen to the franchise. First, they doubled their win total and beat the Clippers in the play-in game. They pushed Memphis to 6, had a double-digit lead in 3 of their losses. Cat returned to the All-Star game. But that taste of success led to the dumbest trade in recent history. Minnesota was so desperate, they made an all-in move for Rudy Gobert. The price shocked everybody. Malik Beasley, Patrick Beverley, Walker Kessler, Jared Vanderbilt, and 4 first-round picks, including 3 unprotected and a pick swap. They sold their entire future. It's just like the D'Angelo Russell trade. The Wolves get a little bit of success and then they panic. Instead of building slowly like Memphis or the Pelicans, they make desperate moves. It's a dysfunctional organization. And what we see now is Jimmy Butler's worst nightmare come to life. The only starter who plays defense, Rudy Gobert. Problem is, he and D'Lo are limited offensive players. The only guys who can score are Cat and Ant, but they check out because the game is so frustrating. It was supposed to be Ant's breakout year, right? Well, he's going backwards. 2 dunks all season? When he was asked about it, Ant hinted that getting Gobert clogs the lane and destroys his style of play. ESPN's Tim McMahon said Ant showed up fat to training camp. They did a slick job of calling him out by putting his actual weight on the official roster, 6'4", 239, which they did not have to do. So if Ant is not the emotional leader that they need, where does that leave them? Cat, D'Lo, and Rudy Gobert, all veterans with a history of poor leadership. So their only option is to trade D'Angelo Russell. They have no more picks to trade to improve. D'Lo is the only former All-Star who they could trade. But they tried that this offseason and had no takers, which means they are backed into a corner. If they let D'Lo leave in free agency, the Wolves will have $10 million in cap space to replace him. Here's a list of the best free agent point guards at that price. Corey Joseph, Ish Smith, George Hill. That's it. D'Lo's shooting and D aren't great, but those guys are worse. So the Wolves have no choice but to re-sign D'Angelo Russell as their starting point guard of the future. Hate to say it, Wolves fans, this is your team going forward, unless their prayer is answered and they get a trade in the future. With D'Angelo Russell re-signed, he could be dealt next season for an upgrade on defense and scoring. Now, I don't know who that would be or who would take D'Angelo Russell for a better player, but they need to pray someone becomes available because D'Lo is a disaster, at least on this team. And I hate to say it, but so is Anthony Davis this year and last year on the Lakers. And this year so far, he's been relatively healthy. It's a theme actually of underperforming teams. Like all of them have a guy who used to be an all-star who they would like to trade, but how do you pull that off and get better? Well, a couple of trade ideas have been floated out there for Anthony Davis. I made a whole video about it right here. Check it out.